Well, today what I'm up to is transplanting pawpaws from tall one tree pots to root trappers, or you got dirt down inside this root trapper. As you all know, I like working with root trappers, and one of the things that I'm working on doing here is putting them into root trappers with the intentions of putting those into grow box for the season. And there's a reason for my madness. Let's get this out of the way here. A lot of those tall one tree pots hold an awful lot of moisture for a long period of time. And here's what we're going to do. Try and get rid of some of the dirt. Ooh, a lot of this dirt's coming off here. Boy, there's a fiber. A lot of root fiber there. Get it out of the way. I see a little bit of a taproot right there. I see more fiber than I do taproot. The taproot didn't go all down that far, down that deep. Now, what I'm going to do is put a little bit of rooting hormone down in the bottom of that pot. Okay. A lot of you probably wondering why in the world would I do that? Well, you know, it's not going to hurt that tree none. I've been dealing with these pawpaws quite a bit, as you all know, and they'll be all right. Okay. That makes about the 5th one that I've transplanted thus far. Now, I can give you an explanation as to why I'm doing this. I'm trying to create space for these little trees. Here we are into the end of the 1st week of May, heading into the 2nd week of May. And what we got going on is grafting season is upon us. But these ones that are in the tall one tree pots, they're not really big enough for grafting as of yet. They'll get there. Next year, I intend to graft these. I intend to graft all of them if possible. Now, just to give you a perception of what I'm talking about. There. They're about the same height. And they're the same age. Both were germinated back in 2019 and planted into pots. That being said, I'm going to set this one down here and this one back over here. Now, just to let you know, as you all know if you've been following me, these back here were brought in here towards the end of January. They were in the chicken coop over the winter, and I brought them in to wake them up, and as you can see, they've awakened very well. Got a lot of good looking pawpaws in here. And the ones that I had in my grow box, the root trapper pots, were brought in the end of February, a month afterwards. Now, I did that to give them a longer growing season. The ones that are in the grow box, the root trappers from last year, are pretty much the ones that I've been grafting into. I had a few that were graftable out of these right here that I've grafted into. They're upstairs and doing very well, by the way. But it was my intentions of getting a lot of grafting done. And it looks like I'm not going to be able to do as much grafting as I wanted to. I'm still going to do some grafting. I got outside grafting to do, although right now it's too early in the year to graft. But I want to try and get some grafting done. That being said, the reasoning behind putting these into root trappers, and they're not all going into root trappers. I got about 11 or 12 root trappers that I can work with, is they're going to go into the grow box, and they're intended for grafting next year as well as these. And by doing this in this manner, what I'm doing is I'm creating space. Now, transplanting pawpaws like that can be stressful for them, no doubt. But you know, down here in this basement, it's damp, it's nice and cool. That helps to alleviate a lot of the stress. In fact, I had a friend of mine a couple years ago. I gave him a couple of root suckers that I had potted up, and he took them home and waiting for the right time to transplant them. And he brought them back and said, they're dying on me. I said, give them to me and let me see what I can do with them. I brought them down here and stuck them in this basement to alleviate that stress because it was summertime and they were stressing out. They snapped out of whatever they had going on with them, and I left them down here for about a month, and just to keep them monitored. And then I gave them back to him, and he went ahead and planted them, protected them, and they're thriving to this day. They did well for him. All of these right here are seedlings. There's no root suckers down here, except for what I put in 3-gallon pots that I had shared earlier this year, which I got a total of 4 root suckers down here that I put in pots, and one of them's almost 4 foot tall, and it's doing very well. But that being said, one of the things I've come to find over the years of growing trees, pawpaws are not the only tree that I've been growing. I've got a number of different types of trees that I've been growing, and one of the things that I've always done is just for my own sense of knowing, I've always, you know, I had like 4 bur oak trees, hybrids. 3 of them I planted, put a tree tube over top of them to protect them, and 1 I planted and put a fence around it because I wanted to see the difference between the 2. And I've since then done that with other types of trees as well to monitor and see what I get out of them. And one of the things I did come to find is that the 3 that were in the tree tubes, they grew very well. They shot straight up and out of the tube they went. But that tube has a stake on it, and it's holding that tree steady. As that tree grew, it was gangly until it got to the top. And when the wind blew, that tube stayed stationary. However, the 1 of the 4 that I stuck inside the fence, it had airflow. Airflow. These that have been in root trappers in the grow box, the spacing between them, airflow. We got some airflow down here with these, but as the wind is blowing, these right here are all protecting the ones on the inside, and I'm not getting the girth. And what my intentions are is I'll one on this side, one on this side, an empty pot, one in the middle, an empty pot, an empty pot, one in the middle, an empty pot in the middle, and 2 on the outside. In other words, I'm going to take it from having 9 trees in a crate down to 5 trees in a crate. And yes, it's going to take up space, but I want that girth. I want to get that girth out of these pawpaws. I need that girth for grafting. And, you know, those right there, they're too small to graft. And those right there, by the way, are 2-year-old pawpaws. That one there, there's 3 of them there, are 2-year-old pawpaws. And those are ready to be grafted into, which I will be doing here before too long. As I'm grafting, and the ones that are waking up, I'm bringing down here. Look at the girth on that. but I'm bringing down here to finish growing out. And just the ones that are waking up is what I'm doing with them. Bring them down here, let them finish out growing. It's cooler. It takes a little longer for them to grow, but in the same token, that stress is alleviated a little bit because it's nice and cool down here. We're setting roughly around 54 to 58 degrees down here on a constant. But anyhow, that was just something that I wanted to share with you as far as these pawpaws and what I'm after. I'm after trying to figure out a way to cause them pawpaws to give more girth so I have better grafting stock. Let me know if I'm right. Let me know if I'm wrong. I think I'm right. Anyways, my name's Jim. If you like what you see, subscribe. There's no longer a bell to click on, but there is a save button. I don't know what it does. Anyways, any comments and questions that you may have, I welcome them. Y'all have a God bless day.